The last section of this week's topic is exploring the different types of questions. The best type of question to ask your child whilst you're playing with them is to answer open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are questions that cannot be answered with a yes or a no. So, for example, if you said, "Do you like this?" that would be a closed-end question. If you're asking these sort of questions, your child can get away with a simple no or a yes. What you want to do is try to get them to explore and use their vocabulary. So you might say, how did you do that? How did you open that? Ooh, that's an interesting part of your picture. Why did you make a circle there? In this way, you'll encourage your child to answer. It's important to remember with open-ended questions, there are no right or wrong answers. So if you're looking at your child's picture and there's a circle, and that's all there is, and you think it might be a face, you don't ask them, "Oh, is that a face?" They might just say yes, or "Is that a circle?" Yes. Instead you say, "Oh, why did you draw a circle?" "Oh, and how did you draw it?" So it's important that you don't assume too much, that you think that this looks like a face, that this looks like a hill, that you're assuming that when they're pouring from one to the other, they're pretending something. You need to try to give control to the child so they feel that they're answering these questions. So to help you with understanding how to make them, most of the open-ended questions start with a what? What is that? What do you think? They start with a how. How did you do that? How does that happen? A where? Where can you find this? Or a why? Why did you do that? And if you get very good at open-ended questions, you can start with, "Tell me about." So for example, with a picture of a circle, instead of saying, "Oh, that's a nice circle, isn't it?" and they say yes or no, you can say, "Oh, tell me about your picture." Or you can have, "I wonder if..." So reflective listening and questioning is also important in play, because this type of questioning expands the play and leads your child to think more deeply about what they're doing. So in this, number one, you have to listen carefully and you have to think about the possible meaning. So you have to guess about what they mean. So listen and think, perhaps they mean this. And then you did prove or you disprove your guess by reflecting back what you think. So it's a bit like saying, Do you mean to say that this is a big ball?" But you're not actually saying those words. So for example, you're working with your child and they're building something and you think very much, "Well, I think this is sort of a house." And then you talk to them about these things and they start to say prince and they have some words that you think, "Oh, perhaps this is a fairy tale, perhaps this is a castle." And you have a guess at that, and then you might say things like, "So tell me about this. Where might you have seen something like this?" In this way, you'll encourage the child to think more deeply. In order to expand play experiences, it's important that rather than just giving your child the same toys, that you can add special things or special challenges. So, one easy thing to do is just to add unusual items to the normal things. So, for example, if you've got blocks, you can add a rope and some small balls. This will throw the children because they're used to seeing balls outside when they're doing sports and kicking and playing. And now they're here with the blocks. But you'll be amazed to see the inventive things that your child can do. You'll find that they won't start to just use the ball as a ball, but they will start to incorporate the ball with the blocks. You could add some aluminium foil. Again, some children might start using the foil to wrap up some of the blocks, or they may use the foil to make it into a river, or something that we haven't even thought of. These are very simple ways just to expand the play and change what is the normal every day into something different. Challenges are a very, very useful way of getting your child to play more and think more, especially in relation to language. So you can have questions. You can think, so how many ways can you? So going back to the blocks, how many ways can you build a patterned tower? How many ways can you build a road that's as long as the table? This is very similar to simply saying, let's build a road or let's build a patterned tower. But you're adding in a challenge and you're asking them how many ways. So you're getting them to think out of the box, not just the one way that they can do this, but how many different ways. You can have how many different objects. How many different objects carry more water than this one? And you can give them a container. And they have to experiment to see how many carry more. How will they work that one out? Will they just look or will they pour? And as they're working with this experiment, you encourage them, asking them more open questions about what they're doing and how they're doing it. You could have questions like, what can you invent that floats on water? And provide them with a variety of objects. They can have paper and they can foil. You can give them a paper plate. You can give them a spoon. It doesn't really matter what you give them. You'll be amazed how many parents think that they always have to buy expensive toys, when in fact, children are very inventive and they can make a lot out of nothing. How many of you have bought an expensive toy and found that your child, in fact, enjoys the box more than the actual item? And you can have other questions such as, how can you draw with more than one crayon at a time? This will make the crayoning much more exciting. So all of these will show you different ways. It's very important that play is developed with your child.